think a lot of times you see people who are a little anxious about cooking, a little nervous about the process. Like they don't want to get things too hot because they're scared of kind of taming this heat. It's like, hey, if you're scared of taming the heat, you got to have one side that's really hot and one side that's medium, and then one side that's cool. So if it ever gets crazy, you can just take whatever it is you have on the hot side and move it over to these zones that aren't as hot.
Q&DA, relax and press play.
There are rules of engagement to the grill this summer, and they should be written by the pros. You don't want to be an amateur, do you? Dale Talde, you know him from Top Chef. He's been one of the most visible chefs in America for quite a long time. He's on season 5 of All Up in My Grill, which is available everywhere on Tastemade. We're talking about Roku TV, Samsung TV, YouTube TV, a million other different streaming devices and platforms. And Grill Week is coming to Tastemade the week before the 4th of July, starting June the 30th. Well, Dale is just the best because he takes the grill, which is something we all have, and turns it into a place of art, but not being hoity about it. So let's talk to Dale Talde about this beautiful tool we all own and the rules of engagement this summer.
I was cooking and I saw he didn't season his patties before he smashed them in, and I didn't say anything. I was like, hey, man, I'm gonna let this dude do his process. And he took a bite into his burgers. Man, they weren't as good as last time. I go, did you season your burgers before you put them on your griddle? And he goes, damn it, why didn't you stop me? I go, hey, man, it's delicious. It still tastes good. It tastes even better that you made it for me. But where's your salt? I put it on my burger and I ate it. Delicious burger. Shout out to Pat and Jess from across the street. They're great people. But I'm not going to correct you. I mean, if this is your process, I'm not there to correct you. I'm there to enjoy myself and drink a few too many beverages. So, do your thing. And if at the end of the day, everyone, they know. When they take a bite into it and you can see their face going, man, why doesn't it taste like last time? I'm like, yo, man, you didn't put salt on that. I watched the whole process. He goes, why didn't you stop me? I go, I just assume that's your jam. That's how you make them. I don't know.
That's great. So the number one rule here is over season. If you're going to use the grill this holiday weekend, over season. What is the number 2 rule you wish you could tell everybody to make sure they would level up their cooking on a grill this summer?
Yeah. Start with high heat, or make sure you have some high heat somewhere. Where I think a lot of times you see people who are a little anxious about cooking, a little nervous about the process. Like they don't want to get things too hot because they're scared of kind of taming this heat. It's like, hey, if you're scared of taming the heat, you got to have one side that's really hot and one side that's medium, and then one side that's cool. So if it ever gets crazy, you can just take whatever it is you have on the hot side and move it over to these zones that aren't as hot, right? So, if you get a flare up, I think a lot of times when people are scared of flare ups, right? That's what the lid's for. Close the grill. Once you stop oxygen, it stops feeding that fire, it goes down. You don't need to start throwing water everywhere, just close the lid.
Ooh, I like this. And so most people would say, if I want a really hot grill, I'm going to turn every one of my burners on. I'm going to get the whole thing scorching hot. I'm going to throw my piece of meat on top or whatever. You're saying, you got to have multiple zones at multiple temperatures on that one grill.
Absolutely. And, it's also like if you're timid cooking, like make sure you have a pan or something that you like, it's completely coming off the rails. Just take it all off, guys. Just take it all off and chill out, have a beverage, relax, and then get yourself going again. I think people just start panicking and freaking out. It's like, hey guys, turn it off. There's this, if it's a gas grill, just turn it off. So for me, that's one of the tips I can give. But also, if you're cooking for a lot of people, don't start off with a recipe you haven't done before. Do something.
Not the time to experiment.
No.
Okay. Play the hits.
Exactly. Play the hits. Play something is a banger. Play the top. The top 540. That are bangers that you can do. Because once you start experimenting, and then people are like, "Oh, what's on the menu?" and you're like, "Oh, that's cool. I've never done it before." Then people are like, "You haven't? Wait a minute. Pause. Yeah, I mean, that's the time where like people are like, how do you intro? What's something you do well? How do you get going on the grill, and get confidence? Start with something that's already good. Start with a nice steak, because with a steak, if you don't nail the temp, say it's a little under, you can always just get it back on the grill with a little bit more butter, and you can cook it to the doneness that you like. But once you start getting into recipes where that are a little more complicated, and a little bit more in depth, it's just harder to recover from those types of things. When you have a great steak and really great asparagus and beautiful asparagus from a farmer's market, and a few really ripe tomatoes that you're just lightly going to grill, and it makes the grilling process easier, and it builds your confidence. Like everything, like sports, or whether it's sports or it's kind of anything you're doing, the more you do it, the more reps you get, the easier it's going to be, and the more comfortable you are. And the more comfortable you are, the more confidence you taste it in your food. When I go to someone's house and you can tell they're a little nervous around a grill, it's like, that's when I'll jump in and be like, hey, do you need some help? And
I would love to have a camera set on you that's like a hidden camera for when Dale Talde has to step in and go, hey, do you need some help? I'd like to see just how worried that chef's got to be, that cook's got to be, for you to be like, yeah, I think I might need to lend out a helping hand here. When you start to see the two hosts, right, of the party, when they start to make eyes, and then hey, come over here. That's when I'm like, hey, do you need something? And they're usually like, hey, can you take care of this? Got you, man. Got you. I got you.
They listening, DM.
Yeah.
Everything
Hey,
we saying, DM.
what's good, everybody? What's up, everybody? We'd like to welcome you to the Q&DA party. Be good and be good to one another. Get comfortable, sit down, and enjoy the show with your lover. Feeling good, doing well, that's the vibe that we bring. From your mic to your mind, from Cali to Maine. Q&DA, Q&DA, Q&DA. Relax and press play.
Make sure also you are subscribed to this channel by clicking on this button below me. That way you get notified when Q&DA long-form conversations are out. And if you like this conversation and want to hear more, I'll do a members-only dive as the raw feed video series. Make sure you're a member by clicking on the join button above me. For those of us that love cooking, usually it comes from an elder, someone in the family perhaps, that loved cooking as well. Then you kind of begin this love affair with, oh, that's how I'd like to prepare because I looked up to my mom, my dad, my grandmother, my grandfather, my aunt, my uncle, something like that. With the passion that you have, the love that you have of the grill, was there somebody that you grew up watching on the grill that you kind of wanted to emulate?
My dad was on the grill. My mom cooked all the time too. And my mom's a phenomenal cook. But my dad was more the like, hey, you got this piece of fish, or you got this piece of meat, or these pork chops, finish it off on the grill. We had pretty intricate recipes. I mean, my dad was cooking like whole lechon pork bellies on a grill, and it was
awesome.
It was banging. I learned cooking outside. Listen, Filipino culture has a lot of beautiful food that stinks up your house to no end. So my mom set up saute pans. We were cooking outside at an early age. So cooking dried fish, cooking fish outside was something that we did all the time because we didn't want the house to smell like fish for 3 days. So, but watching my mom do that real, bootleg style, squatting on cement, like flipping pieces of fish. That was like, wow. Like, that to me, when I saw Anthony Bourdain got, R.I.P. still love and miss Tony like to no end. But when he's in Vietnam and he's on these Southeast Asian countries and you see these ladies on the side of the road squatting, flipping Saigon pancakes or flipping pieces of meat, I was like, yo, my mom's been doing that since I was like, we were doing that for years before anyone's seeing that. So that was very intuitive for me. Like cooking outside was always something that I saw my parents do.
What do you think it was about Bourdain that made him that next notch above? I've read a lot of thought pieces about this and watched a lot of people's reaction, but there was something that Anthony did about either embracing different cultures, being experimental, showing this kind of love through exploration, but there was something that he had that just cut through. What do you think that kind of special sauce was for him?
I think Tony was every person's person. he made it so relatable, right? He wasn't this. You weren't diving, even if he wasn't a 3-star Michelin kitchen. You never felt like he was talking about the food in that way. He always made everything super relatable. Um, the way he talked about food and the experience of traveling for food, that's how I got my love of travel. I
Oh,
was,
really?
I was one of those people who were like more afraid of travel because I didn't want to make a. I was like this paralysis of like, I don't know what I'm doing. Where do I go? Am I making a mistake?
Sure.
Where Tone kind of opened up the doors for everybody. Where it was like, hey, I'm going to show you where to go, and then from there you can explore the rest of this region. I never heard of something. San Sebastian, Spain. And you go and you're like, this is like the mecca of 3-star Michelin restaurants, but it's also like a place where you can get the best ribeye, seafood that's cooked directly over a grill, and the most avant-garde food in the world. And you're in a lot of respects, you're eating at these little bars that have a piece of bread, some kind of protein or vegetable, and then a sauce, and that's your whole experience. I think that's what it was. That was, for me, that was his secret sauce. Is that he opened those doors for me to travel, because I was kind of like paralyzed by the idea of traveling. And it just, the way he spoke about food and the way he spoke about travel was so relatable. It was so like, he said, yeah, you know what, you might, if you eat as crazy as I do, you might get sick. And trust me, I've been and we've all been there before, but we're all like, hey, you know what? You're breaking down that barrier to make it not so like scary for the rest of us. Like, yeah, you do it. You've gone through that too. Yeah, I've gone through that. So that's what I think is amazing about the way he spoke about food.
I think that speaks a lot to your approach as well, and why so many people gravitate to you. It's because, when you talk about a grill, what you do on a grill is above what most of us can accomplish on a grill. But when you're talking about a grill, we're all like, well, we have that in the backyard. We have that on the deck. We can do that. And I think that's why All Up in My Grill is so successful. And I get so much great feedback from my listeners and my audience. And when I mention that we're going to have you on the show, they're like, oh, I've seen that because I've done this, I've done that. So I think you have a lot of that as well. And I think, people understand that you're kind of a every guy as well. Your love of old school hip hop is something that I share as well. A lot of people, our audience, are like, awesome. We just had Rocky Bucano on, and he's opening up the Hip Hop Museum next year. And we just interviewed him, and I was talking to him about kind of the history of hip hop and what have you. And I was thinking, when we were going to have you on the show, what's the best summer song? Because you always say we want a soundtrack outside. I want to make sure we set the mood when you're going to be cooking outside. Is it Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff's classic Summertime, or is it Ice Cube's Good Day?
Two amazing songs, but I'll throw one in there for you that is kind of and it's probably just because it was like, whenever the song came out, I had one of the best summers of my life. Souls of Mischief, 93 to Infinity. I mean, that song was, it felt, I mean, I almost can feel the warm rays of sun and the breeze and what I was doing at the time, being a knucklehead with my friends, going to the movies, staying out way too late and doing nothing, right? Like back in the day when you're 16 and 17, doing nothing but seeing a movie, like the last show at midnight, and being in a parking lot till the security kicked you out, and then going to an IHOP and ordering, like 5 dudes ordering 2 entrees and sipping on water and for 2 hours. Like that's my crew of friends. That's what we did. So, and I still talk to the same crew of guys that we do, and we get together, we talk about the same old stories. So that song, to me, when I play that song, man, it is so iconic, and it's such a good summer anthem for me to start especially starting the summer. And then if like veering off hip hop, but kind of in the same world, like Super Cat, Buju Banton, dance hall reggae for me. When you put that on, especially say real dance hall old school clips, Chaka Damus and the Pliers. I mean, that is to me like that's summertime.
93 to Infinity is such an epic summertime song. I love that choice by you. Let's just say we're out in the park, okay? And we got the Furious 5 and Grandmaster Flash. And they're like, okay, Dale, let's cook something up. And you're like, I really want to impress these guys. I really want to impress these guys. But I don't have my grill. I've got like a park grill. I got one of those. It's been caked over a million years, but I know it's got flavor and soul in there. What are you cooking to impress somebody out in the park?
Listen, I'll tell you this, and it's not one that you would kind of go to naturally, but because of the nature of those grills and the kind of like, I don't know what's been done. Like, who's taking care of this? Like, I know the New York State or New York City park districts probably aren't taking care of these grills. Yeah. And what I've done in the past that's been super sick and dope is I do like a shrimp boil.
Oh,
it's
nice.
it's one of those things where you can make a volume of food, feed a ton of people, and do it relatively quickly. And it's not like, and you have to be, you don't have to be tied to it. You can still enjoy yourself and you can still dance and have fun. It's messy, but you're in the park, especially in New York City. Like, that's the name of the game, right? You're coming home and the kicks are scuffed up and, you've got some, you've rolled around a little bit and you've had fun, maybe played some ball in the park and played some handball. But I've done that in a park and I think it's been a real hit because end of the day, especially you get a big, get one of those benches, you just put some newspapers down, put some wax paper down, just dump everything on top of that and say, go at it, have fun. Sausages, corn, onions, potatoes, some grilled bread. And then, it's just some bowls for you to dunk it into. And I think it's just as good kind of room temperature as it is piping hot. So I love that.
That's a great one. You don't have to babysit it. Like you said, that's a great suggestion. Chicago epic tailgates. We know Chicago Bears tailgates are all-timer. I would imagine like World Cup tailgates at Soldier Field, big soccer events in Chicago. That would be awesome as well. If you're going out there and you're tailgating, what's a good kind of hook this summer or maybe in the fall for football that you can bring out maybe your mini grill from the car and actually get something done that's pretty legit?
I think great tailgates start with a theme. So it starts with a idea, like what's the theme right now? And if you're talking to me Chicago tailgates, what I love about Chicago, one of the things I love most about Chicago is the Mexican food. Because there's such great Mexican food in Chicago. So I think like something like a birria taco situation. You kind of cook it all ahead of time, right? You start to build your tacos. You had a great grill out there, little cheese, get that nice and crispy, like the queso taco, crispy, fill it with the meats, and then you have a nice mug of some of that broth, and then you're dipping into it. And as soon as you get done with all the tacos, pro tip, bring dried ramen noodles. And now you're slurping ramen noodles in your birria broth.
Ooh.
Dressing it just like a taco. Diced onion, cilantro, pickled jalapenos, squeeze a lime, and then you're slurping noodles, especially if it's like later in the fall where it's nice and got a chill in it. So you've eaten the taco and now you're just slurping noodles. To me, it's great prep. You kind of got a theme going that, hey, we're going, Mexican street food, Mexican style. And you're not, like I said, you're not breaking your back kind of assembling for everybody. You're just like, hey, guys, tacos are ready. Are crispy. Broth is ready. Garnish it how you want to and save room for dessert and keep that mug hot because we're going to be dropping noodles in that.
Oh, I love that idea. Your series, All Up in My Grill, has been incredibly successful, and Tastemade got such great publicity and attention for it. You got season 5 coming up here this summer. So what's unique about this upcoming season that the audience could get all fired up about?
Yeah. So, I think, we're in season 5 and like my cooking style, I think there's in this, like, when you're in season 1 and 2 and 3, you're trying to flex so hard and do some crazy things. And maybe, some of the recipes were a little long in the tooth. And I think what we've done this season was we pared the recipes down a little, but we've increased the technique. So I am making this, at this stage, like if you're following us and you're grilling a lot, trying to take the recipe out of your grilling and make it more intuitive. Make this idea of being on the grill, utilizing whether it's a gas or a live fire grill, just making the whole process a little more intuitive. and not so kind of like ingredient and recipe driven, but teaching you technique, because technique, once you learn the technique, then the craftsmanship comes into, and the exploration and the creativity comes into whatever you're cooking, right? You're taking, a really great steak that's, maybe you're taking a really great steak that costs you, maybe a little bit much, and salt and pepper, because that's all it needs. And now you're looking at the technique and going, you know what? I'm going to get creative with my ingredients. I'm going to get maybe a cheaper cut of meat, but because I understand this technique of how I'm marinating it, how I'm glazing it, and how I'm finishing it on the grill and charring it on the grill, I'm going to add my flavors and my different flavors and ingredients to it. So, it's not just taking a simple piece of meat and treating it beautifully and whatever. Maybe it's taking like, hey, this is a tougher piece of meat that I'm going to marinate because I learned this technique, or the techniques of how this meat reacts on a grill. I can get more creative with it. So that's the goal of season 5. Still having fun. We still have some wacky recipes. We're cooking on a tandoor oven that we never did before, a live fire tandoor oven. That is fun and exciting. And, did I ever think season 1 we'll bust out a tandoor and no, but we did it, and it was hilarious and fun. And, I got this guy from it.
Damn.
Months ago.
You got a battle scar from season 5.
Season 5 battle scar right there. But you know what? If you want some real cred in the hospitality industry, walk into a room full of chefs with one of these, and they'll be like, oh, "You cook?"
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's the symbol of you cook. If you got one of those grill marks on your forearm, very good. Tastemade is awesome, and the series is awesome, and you can check out the entire channel on so many different platforms. If you're watching us right now on YouTube, it's on YouTube TV, it's on Roku, it's on Samsung TV, it's a million different places. Just search Tastemade on your smart television, you'll find it, or on your desktop or phone, what have you, and it's all there. Before I let you go, I just want to let you know the crab rice at Goose Feather in Terrytown is so good. Absolutely love it. Went over there, I was blown away by the cocktails. But I'm a seafood guy and I'm a fried rice guy. So the crab rice was, just chef's kiss.
Thank you. Well, visit us this summer. We're doing a Simply Grilled series out there, where on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, we're going to be busting out a live fire grill and a couple proteins, definitely a lot of seafood, a little lobster, some clams, but really stuff that's simply cooked over the grill, dressed with a little bit of aged soy and some clarified butter and some herbs from the garden. So come visit us, and we'll have some fun stuff there.
That is awesome. And I don't know where you source a 100-year-old dragon carving for one of your restaurants, but again, if you're doing like American Pickers to find this type of stuff, that's pretty ridiculous as well. That is awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, once again, Tastemades. Check it out. Biggest streaming event of the year. Grill Week is coming up the week prior to 4th of July. Season 5, All Up in My Grill, is going to be there. Dale Talde joining us here on the show. Dale, you're the best. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
You got it.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching our conversation with Dale Talde. For Q&DA long-form conversations, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click on this button below me. That way you are notified when we got new deep dives out in Q&DA long-form convos. Also, if you enjoyed this conversation, I am doing a members-only video called the Raw Feed series, which is going to be my deep dive on every one of our Q&DA conversations. So make sure you're a member to get that. That's a member-exclusive video. I'm pointing up because just above me is the Join tab. If you don't see the Join tab, just use that URL in both the description of this video or the description of this channel. Pop it into your browser, and you'll find the link there for members-only videos. Plus, if you're a member, you get personalized emojis, you get an Ask Me Anything just for members once a month, and discounts to all show merchandise. Dale was awesome. I love this conversation, and I love thinking about some of those tips for the grill. Let me go out there and cook myself a burger or a steak right now. All right, I'm DA. We'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching.